Blast Music247.com. We're changing the industry, one artist at a time.
Hello, everyone. Hello, friends. It's my first podcast. I am super excited. Welcome to the Legal Lounge. So I want to jump right in because a lot of people told me they were going to join. There's going to be questions, and I'll introduce myself more in a second. But I see there's already one question, so I'll do that question, and then I'm going to introduce myself. So it says, "What is most important if you have modest means, a will or a trust?" Well, hold on. I'm sorry, y'all. Let me turn my low volume down. What's most important if you have modest means, a will or a trust? Okay, in order to have something in place, I say a will. The problem with a will is you're still going to have to probate and your family will still have to go to court, but there will be something. And there's a lot of cases out here, everybody, where boyfriends are getting property and houses over kids, and different things are happening in households. People are losing property, they're losing land, they're losing possessions to people who should never have it. And for whatever reason, they're ending up with it. So if you're of modest means, I would say start with the will just to have something in place. Also, make sure you have the healthcare power of attorney and a durable power of attorney. And so based on that question, I want to say that because I know these things are hard to pay for and to get, I do want to develop a program in my own practice where I help people build up to a trust, and we just work on it, pay over time, and I get you there. It's so important, and I so want everybody to have these documents and have all of their affairs in order, that I'm willing to do that. So I'm going to start like a workshop, like a group where I work with a group of people and bring you along and do your healthcare power of attorney, your durable power of attorney. Normally you'd have a trust, and then you have something called a pour over trust that happens in case if your trust fails or if something gets left out of your trust. It's a pour over trust, whatever happens, pour over will, whatever happens to have been left out of the trust. So that's what I would do. But at least if you have a will, you have something, and it's not just willy-nilly out there, and then people start taking stuff and grabbing at the time that you pass, which we know that's what happens. So like I said, that's just a sample of what we will do here on the Legal Lounge podcast. I am here to serve. I want to help. I want to provide information to the community. And so my name is Nichon Mitchell. I've been an attorney for 26 years this year. I've held various positions, everything from a prosecutor to assistant attorney general. I've had my own practice. I've led the state Medicaid system in Tennessee in litigation, and I do a lot of contract litigating. So this podcast is meant to provide information to all of my viewers. I want to give my disclaimer early on and say this. I have a Tennessee license, I have a Mississippi license to practice law, and my Texas license is pending. A lot of what I'm going to give you guys is tips, pointers, and advice in terms of guidance or direction. As we all know in this country, every state is different. The specific law is different, but the overarching concepts are a lot of times the same. So if you ask me a question, you're in a state I don't have a license, I'm going to tell you what the overarching thing is, what you're looking for. I'm going to give you tips and what to ask an attorney in your area, wherever you live, in order to get the best result that you can get. A lot of times I'll have a referral in various states because I have lived all over the country and I do have a lot of contacts. But I just want y'all to know, it's like the old adage, like you got to give me $1 for me to be your lawyer. The information I give you on this page doesn't create an attorney-client relationship. So whatever you tell me here or whatever you ask, That stuff is not confidential. If you set a consult with me and pay the consult fee, that's when it's private, it's confidential. It's attorney-client privilege, and they can't make me tell them what you've said to me. So I think my one of my producers can put up the QR code and the Calendly for a 20-minute consult, and we can go from there. But let me get to answering some more questions. And I see my friend Cindy. Hey, Cindy. Hi. Let's see. Um, okay, here, let's ask this. Let's see. How should blended families structure estate plans to protect all children fairly? You know what? That's a very specific question for every blended family. I have a blended family, and we've chosen to handle ours in a certain way. So it depends. Um, it depends on where the property originates from. Is it your grandmother's china on one particular side of the family, and you want to keep it on that side of the family, or you don't care, and it could be split up amongst the children or something like that. So so fairly is determined by that family. And I just want to say, whatever you want to do in your family is perfectly fine. Another family may not choose to do that. So you determine what fair is. Some blended families split everything evenly between the husband and the wife. In my particular family, like, we just got married. We've been married almost 2 years, but we had long time marriages before this marriage, and our kids were already grown and everything. So we have 20 or 30 years worth of stuff that happened before we ever got married. And you might, so definitely the things you accumulate together in your blended family, that's one discussion. But what about the things you had before you came into the marriage and created the blended family? You'll want to think about that. And it doesn't matter how you decide to do it, but you are the official judge of what is fair in your particular family. I hope that answers the question. If not, just send me another one and I can clarify. But that's fair is all up to you. So let's see. What's the next question? Oh, thank you so much. Yes, invaluable information. That's what. Look, everyone needs their documents together. It's so many cases I come across. So much goes wrong because people don't have a will. They don't have a trust, and even they don't have the healthcare power of attorney. And it starts in the hospital when someone gets sick. So we need to make sure we have those documents. And I'm going to have a workshop put together where we can all walk that journey together. Those who want to join the workshop and do it, we can walk that journey together and create the documents that you need. We can start with the very basic healthcare power of attorney. Who's going to make decisions if you're sick and you can't do it? A durable power of attorney. Who's going to pay your bills and look after your affairs if you can't do it? So that's what a durable power of attorney is for. You can give somebody as much or as little power as you want to give them. You can give it to two or three different people. Like in our trust, I don't know if my sorors are out there. Hello, Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. Okay, I have in my will a soror designated to get all of my Delta stuff and make sure it goes where it's supposed to go. So that person, outside of the trustee, outside of the executor of the will, they have full authority over anything related to Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, and they know what to do with it. So you can put different people in charge of different things. It doesn't have to just be one person, and you may not want to put all that weight on one person. But when you have a consult with me, we'll talk about those things, about, who do you trust, who you want to put in charge, what things do you have in your life that you need to designate someone to look after. So let's see, what else do we have? Yes. Okay, so everyone make sure they're hitting the like button and subscribe to the Blast channel. Once you do that, that's how you can get the replays of these podcasts. And if you miss one and you miss a topic that you really want to know about, you can go back to, I guess, the YouTube channel, and you can see them there. Speaking of which, I want to tell you what some of the next topics are. So March 5th will be Wills, Trust, and Estates. I'm going to talk about all of the documents and everything that you need, why you need it, how it kind of works, what it looks like once they're drafted. And then on March 12th, I'm going to have a home buyer and home seller episode. Since I'm also a licensed realtor, I want to help people either get into a home or sell their home if they want to get out of the house. Everybody doesn't want to be a homeowner. And that's working on everything. We're going to talk about credit and financing and all that kind of stuff. And I do have connections to help, people at all different stages of the credit journey to, get to where they need to be to buy a house. So I was a real estate broker in Mississippi, and I helped a lot of people get their first house. That was kind of my passion, helping people get a house who never thought they could, helping people get their credit straight so they could get a house. And now in Texas, I have my Texas real estate license, and happy to help you find a home on that vein too. So that's March 12th. March 19th is child support, divorce, and custody. I get a lot of questions about that. So I'm going to cover broad concepts about child support, divorce, and custody so that, we can dispel some of the things that are just not true. A lot of long-standing things people are doing that I wish they stopped doing. For instance, this one is really important, and it's becoming more and more important. You cannot withhold visitation because someone is not paying support. Now, notice I said someone, because there's an uptick now of men having custody and women paying support. And that's because of some of the antics that have been going on over the years, and courts are catching on to it. So you cannot withhold visitation just because someone's not paying support. There's something you can do about the person not paying support. But generally in most states, those two things are not linked. They don't go together. They're separate from one another. So if somebody is not paying support or not visiting, there's a remedy for that. But you can't cut off one because of the other. So we're going to talk about child support, divorce, and custody. For instance, in Tennessee, you can get something called a unilateral divorce. That means I'm no longer happy. I don't like you anymore. I want a divorce. And you can get one. But like in Mississippi, you can't do that. You can't get a unilateral divorce. You have to have grounds to get divorced. If you don't have grounds, then both people have to decide that this marriage is no longer working, and then they get a divorce on irreconcilable differences. So that's why sometimes you'll see people and they been apart from their spouse for 10, 15, 20 years. They can't get a divorce because one person is holding them hostage. You can do that in Mississippi. If both people don't agree and you don't have grounds for a divorce, you can't get the divorce. Side note to that, I was sitting in court one time waiting on my case, and there was a case being tried for a divorce. The woman was suing for adultery. She had emails and everything. And that judge still denied that divorce. It's hard in Mississippi to prove grounds for divorce. And a lot of times, depending on which partner it is, somebody could be spiteful. They could hold you hostage in the marriage. So we are going to talk about, different theories, concepts surrounding divorce, child support, and custody. Let's see if I got some questions over here. Okay, someone has a question that says, what if the child doesn't want to go with the other parent? Okay, so depending on how old the child is, a lot of states have it, some states don't. The child can say what they want to do, and the court will consider that. Depending on why the child doesn't want to go, you will have to do something like either have a therapist write a statement, get a guardian ad litem to speak to the court on behalf of the child. But even if the child doesn't want to go, they still have to go. You have to get leave of court in order to alter whatever. If there's an order for visitation and an order for support, if there's an order for visitation, doesn't matter what the child want to do, they have to go. I have seen courts stop support because the parent who has custody won't let the child go to the other parent, or will condone the child not wanting to go, I have seen the court say, oh, and they'll do it in an instant. Okay, fine. Kid doesn't want to go. Child support ends, and we'll hit that gavel. Honey, you don't want them to hit the once they hit the gavel, it's hard to get it's hard to get that undone. So so that's something that we could talk about in a meeting, right? Like, I need to know more about why the child doesn't want to go, the larger picture of what's going on. But as a general rule across the board, all 50 states, it doesn't matter what the child wants to do. And that's another reason, though, why when we're having these hearings and court appointments, these meetings, mediation, whatever is ordered, everything needs to come out. You can't withhold anything because the judge is going to make a decision that you're going to have to live with. And in some states, you can't revisit that decision for like 3 years. And so, unless there's, an emergency circumstance, or unless, something changes, that's an emergency. But just generally, like, the court's not going to keep doing this back and forth, going back and forth. The court's not going to do that. So generally, once there's an order, it needs to be in place for 3 years before the court will consider changing it again outside of, certain circumstances. So, so I'm not saying that you can't um, you can't get it changed because the child doesn't want to go, but it's all going to come down on why. The most important thing about that is, once there's an order from the court, you can't do what you want to do. You can't just change it and willy nilly not go by it. Now, side note to that, before I look and see if there's another question, I always encourage people to try to get together themselves and make an agreement. You can have a private agreement. For instance, when I got divorced, we didn't have um, child support and visitation. We didn't have that. We just, we, look, I said, look, we've been married 16 years. You know when these kids' birthday is, you know when Christmas is, you know when school starts, you know everything. You're either going to do it or you're not. And as with visitation, hey, they're your kids. Come get them whenever you want to get them. That whole weekend, that didn't work for me, right? So I'm not saying that everybody wants to do it, but I'm just giving you an example of, it doesn't have to be every other weekend and every third Thursday and the standard stuff that everybody's hearing. You can come up with your own agreement on how you want to do child support, how you want to do visitation, how you want to do it. Um, Whatever two people want to agree to, as long as it's not anything crazy that violates public policy, the court is most likely going to let you do it. You just have to come up with something that's reasonable that works for all parties. So instead of having to do what the court is making you do, I always suggest to people to try to get along long enough to come up with a plan that you two can agree with. Because sometimes people, it's like the mom's a nurse and the dad is a longshoreman. The dad's a doctor and the mom is in school. Everybody's situation is different, but to the extent you can make your own agreement and live with that and take that to the court, they'll honor it instead of having to go by these rules that almost no one can go by if you let the court decide. Okay, let me see what's over here on these questions. Um, oh, do I handle contracts? Honey, yes, I handle contracts. Do you handle contracts? Yes. Contracts is a really good thing to talk about too. That is going to be a podcast in the future. Because I also get a lot of calls about contracts, and there's so much that I want to tell people about contracts that will save them a lot of headaches. The most popular contract people know about is a lease, of course. So when I do the contracts podcast, I am going to cover different types of contracts and give tips on how to read them really quickly. Nobody's going to read a 30-page lease except me when they go rent an apartment. But there are key things that you can look for, that you can spot immediately, that either to ask more questions about, or that maybe that's not a good deal for you or something like that. So yes, I do contracts, and also like have a service where like if you are about to enter like an important contract, like if you want me to read a lease, or if you're a small business owner and you want me to read a vendor contract, or you want me to do something like that, like I can assist you with that. So here, let me make sure that I didn't miss a question. Where did y'all just want to go? I don't think I missed. Yeah, I don't think I missed anything. Okay, so let me see what else. What other questions? I thought people have. They usually have so many questions for me. Okay, so in the meantime, between time, let me think. Of what else? So I told you guys what's coming up on future podcasts, um, and a little bit about myself and my qualifications and kind of what I'm doing. Let me try to think of some questions people ask me a lot about. Well, I will tell. Wait, do you assist in setting up LLCs and other business? Yes, actually have. I used to host a little like a LLC workshop in Tennessee to help people set their business up. So yes, I do help you set them up, and also I do what's called a risk management assessment. So if you're already in business, or if I help you set your business up, I do this at the beginning. But if you're already in business, I have a meeting with you. It usually lasts between 1 to 2 hours, depending on what you got going on. And I go through all the contracts you're using or tell you what contracts you should be using. We talk about insurance, business insurance, what you have or what you need further that could protect you and your business from lawsuits. Um, I talk about like your documentation system. How are you documenting your interaction with your clients, or how are you documenting your business, your receipts, different things like that. And we just kind of go through everything you're doing in your business. And I just give you information and tips on kind of, legally how to protect yourself better. So, like maybe everything I tell you, you can't implement at the time we have the meeting, but you have goals to work towards in order to know, hey, I'm using this contract now, but it doesn't fully protect me. I even had to redo my own contracts in terms of, texting. If you text with clients, if you email with clients, and different things like that, there's best practices, and there's things that you could do to help minimize your exposure. So a lot of times with attorneys and of course insurance agents too, it's about, I mean, you can't eliminate all risk, but you can reduce your exposure. You can reduce the level of risk that you have in your business by just putting a few key things in place. Also, in terms of having a business, going back to estate planning, and so that's called succession planning. What's going to happen with your business if you pass, especially if you pass unexpectedly? You're going to still have accounts receivable out there. You're still going to have accounts payable. You may have product moving and shipment. You may have employees that need to be paid. Your business is going to have to be wound up. You would want the profits to go to your family or your children or something like that. So you need a succession plan in place for your business. That's something that's talked about either in the business workshop, or I talk about it with you when you do the estate planning. So that's something too, if you guys are out there, business owners, and you haven't thought about that, which a lot of small business owners haven't, that's something that you want to consider. Um, let's see here. Will I be posting the workshop? I'm probably I'm probably gonna just post that it's happening, and then people sign up. That's probably gonna be on a different platform, like a Zoom platform, a Zoom webinar, where it'll start out in a small group and then it'll merge into one-on-one help. So that like in the estate planning workshop, we're gonna all start with I'm gonna so say it's 5 or 7 people in the group. That's probably as much as I want to do at one time. Then I'm gonna say, hey, this is the document that I need to draft your trust. We're going to go through it together, and we're all going to fill it out. I'm going to tell you things to consider. We'll do that. And then, so it'll probably be like 3 to 4 meetings. But as we go along, like the last meeting, I'll talk to you separately, individually, and say, okay, let's talk about what you need so I can finish drafting your document. So I will definitely post when the workshops are and what the sign up is, what the cost will be. But the actual that type of workshop, the actual workshop, I'm not going to post that now. Webinar, I could do a webinar, um, but that's almost kind of duplicate work for like what the podcast is. So that's how that will work. So I'm gonna give everybody this business number. I hope everybody, Troy, he can take it, he can write it down. So okay, 615-596-3132. That's the number to call or text me on about all these things. 615-596-3132. I'm also give y'all an email address, but let me check these questions over here. Yes. Oh, so and to better answer this question, it says, do you assist in setting up LLCs and other business entities? Okay, so I have helped do nonprofits before, S corps, C corps. That should really, those are should more so be a tax designation, but corporations are a little more involved, and sometimes they're a little too fancy for what people are trying to do, and the tax implications of corporations are a lot more. So my business consultant told me, if your business gross is not over 55,000 a year, a corporation setup is kind of not what you want to do. So you want to really consider the type of business entity you're setting up, and then how you file your personal taxes. That's one consideration. But then the type of business entity you set up, and then what kind of business you're doing, because some structures lend themselves better to an LLC or S corp or C corp or whatever. It also depends on, do you have partners or do you have a spouse? Are you in a community property state or are you in a common law state? All those things matter. And so generally, you would have a lawyer and an accountant, good lawyer, good accountant, and they work together. I have a client, he has a banker, he has me as his lawyer, and then he has an accountant. And look, we don't allow him to do anything until like we all talk and we make sure we're on the same page. And then we give him or sometimes he'll call me and I'll say, yeah, that sounds good. But call your banker. That sounds good. Call the accountant. And so I do the part I can handle, and then I send him on to the next part. Let's see. Okay. So yes, I can help with other entities. And I'm always real clear and upfront, like, hey y'all, I know this much, but I don't know this part over here. So oh wait. Are there any best practices for potential personal injury? Do you have expertise there? Okay, so yes, I have done so when the person who says, are there best practices for personal injury, potential personal injury? I need clarity on that, because usually best practices is on the business side of doing things, but potential personal injury. So clarify that question for me so I can give you a better answer. I'm gonna come back to that. Let me see. For young families who are still building wealth, what estate planning steps? Okay, so this says, for young families who are still building wealth, what estate planning steps should they prioritize first? I would just say, look, if you own anything, get documents first, and a full complement of documents. And you said young families, I'm assuming that means children. You should always have a plan for your children. I've had a plan. My kids are going to be 30 and 33 in April. And really ever since I got out of law school. So they were like 4 and 7. I've had a plan for them. I called people and had the conversation that a lot of people find difficult, don't want to have. Hey, if we die, will you take our children? And I literally had a list. And I'm just going to be upfront and honest and say I had a list because my parents were not an option. Okay. And so I had a list to say, hey, these people, if not them, then these people. I literally had 7 options in my will that said, which is basically what, if we die at the same time, this is who we want to take our children. If you're a single parent, you really need one. So you want to get the documents in place because you want to set that foundation. And look, a good foundation starting early, you need some life insurance. Life insurance is going to fund a lot of that. So you need life insurance, you need your documents in place, And the other stuff that financial advisors will tell you, you need an emergency fund. So in case things go wrong, you're not dipping into other money that you have set aside for estate planning purposes. Um, you need, um, yeah, the emergency fund. But the most important thing, because you said building wealth, is, I mean, because no matter what stage you are in building it, if something happens, it could just be swept away. It could just be gone away to an avenue you wouldn't want it to go to. So the other thing, though, about having naming someone for your children and then having that in a will is once you have the life insurance and you make your trust the beneficiary. So then what I had in my will was, okay, this person use the money to pay the house off, and you can either live in the house and raise the kids here, and you get a stipend every month, or you could sell the house and take that money, it goes in a trust, and then you get this much money every month for taking care of my kids until they're 18. And then once they got 18, the will provided, hey, you get this much money to go to college, and we get 25, you get this much, and when you get 30, you get this much. So you want to kind of think about those things, but you start with having a plan for what's going to happen if we're sick, who's going to take care of them if we both are deceased, and all that kind of stuff. Oh, look at that. This is my favorite. Y'all, wait, did it go on here? Hold on. Look at my favorite son. I love you too, honey. Okay, so wait, I had to ask my producer. Hold on, because look, he probably I got messages over here I ain't even looked at. Okay, I forgot to say this part at the beginning. And this is good because if y'all need to, y'all take a little break, get some pen and paper. And if you didn't have one and you're missing the good stuff, but there's a 5-minute music break. Now look, I like the music that they play on here. They advertise in certain artists. There's a 5-minute music break, but that's good. So I think we should take the break now, and I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna check all the questions, and then I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna answer the rest of the questions. So that's good too. Y'all get y'all questions together so that I can get y'all the information y'all need. Okay.
All righty. Thank you, Nichon. Great information. Thank you for everyone. Thank you for everyone stopping by tonight to see her premiere show. Just to let people know, right here, there we go, right here. This is to donate to Miss Nichon, if ever you would like to. And the other corner is if you want to do a consultation, go ahead and do the QR code in the top left, okay? And again, thank you so much. So tonight, real short, I'm the vice president of blastmusic247.com, where we help independent artists get exposure and to help them monetize their business. I have an amazing artist. He is based in Texas. His name is Yamasani, and the name of this song is called Circle of Life. So let's check it out.
Oh, now that's real. Pops a rolling stone and flatten grass fields. My mandatory raps a passive axe bill. React like Drax will, relax, I'm past chill.
This manifestation of imagination is just a creation of communication with an integration system like the Matrix, filled with entertainment, pastors education.
Court-appointed lawyers for blacks in litigation. Corporate enormous tax cut and evasion. Saw George Floyd on the news and couldn't take it. It's hard to tightrope, walk it all, but I'm a Grayson. One day we not gonna be passive with the slaying. One day we might just put action to the saying. One day we'll stop all the blasting and the spraying and stop carrying weapons that will smith you like Jaden. To be free to you, to them is disobeying. They told you to get into heaven, you needed praying. They left out the heavens, your thoughts, and where you haven. It's not you, it's we, it's deep, it's complicated.
One day you have it, one day you have it, go away. One day you have it, one day you have it, go away, go away. Don't take it serious, serious. It's an experience, experience. Don't take it serious, serious. It's an experience, experience. Shine bright like a solar light. Oh, we can make everything alright. Yeah.
Shine bright like a solar light, and know you can make everything alright. Yeah.
Shine bright like a solar light. You know we can make everything alright. Yeah.
Shine bright like a solar light, and know you can make everything alright.
I'ma send it your way. This a clinic, don't forget every visit you pay.
It's cringeworthy to say I've been perfect, cause hey, the kids calling my name. I'm too busy to play.
This a scrimmage, shirt skins, the ending is late. Life's a scary movie when hands dig in your plate. To take the dividends, dollars and pennies you make. I'm transparent with you, even when you really opaque. Marcus Aurelius states, everything you hear is an opinion, not a fact. But is that really the case? Cause we all know planes leave a chemical trace. And we knew he was guilty, you see Zimmerman's face. And we all want to crash in the video chase. And we want that hottie to let us feel on her waist. And we know one day we will see God's grace transcend our body and be up in outer
Shine
space.
bright like a solar light. Know we can make everything alright. Yeah. One day you have it. One day you have it. Shine bright like a solar light. You know we can make everything alright. Yeah. One day you have it. One day you have it. Don't take it serious. Serious. It's an experience. Experience. Don't take it serious. Serious. It's an experience. Experience. Shine bright like a solar light. Know we can make everything alright. Yeah.
Shine bright like a solar light, and know you can make everything alright. Yeah.
Shine bright like a solar light. You know we can make everything alright. Yeah.
Shine bright like a solar light, and know you can make everything alright. Yeah.
Yes, indeed. And that was my man Yamasani with Dr. Chris Rich. And that was called The Circle of Life. And if you are an independent artist or a spoken word poet or up and coming comedian looking for some exposure, you can go to blastmusic247.com and register for free. Blast is also looking for the fans. So if you're a fan of great music, you too can also register at blastmusic247.com, register as an unlimited fan, and have access to hundreds of independent music. Blast, we're constantly changing the industry one artist at a time. All right, Ms. Nichon, back to you.
Great. Okay. Yes. I want to cover. Okay. Yes, here it is. How do you handle a situation where an estate account was opened by another family member, but their lawyer is not following up on the status or trying to close out the estate? Can you file a complaint? Probably. So the deal with so what happens is someone files a petition to open an estate or petition to administer the estate. So someone got appointed to administer the estate. If it's a male, it's an administrator. If it's a female, it's an administratrix. Side note, if there was a will, it's an executor for a man and executrix for a woman. Okay. So you went to court because there was no will. That's testate. A will is testate. No will is intestate. So you went to court because there was no will. Someone in the family filed and they said they wanted to be over the estate. Sounds like they got appointed because they have a lawyer and they're not allegedly doing what they're supposed to do. Okay. So what happens was there should have been an heirship determination. So when the person got appointed, they should have ran an ad in the paper for 3 consecutive weeks, in a paper that's well circulated in the area where the person died and where the case is pending. And so then it says, come one, come all, this person died. They died on this date in this county. If you think you're related to them, come to court. So everyone shows up at court and says, it's my uncle, it's my brother, he was my father, that's a whole interesting thing right there. He's my father's, whatever it is, right? Sometimes some people have to prove who they are to the court. So once all that gets worked out, which could go really quickly or could not go quickly if DNA tests are needed or anything else, the court is going to issue an heirship determination. List all the people, say all these people are heirs to the person that died. Interesting side note. That's where if you ever heard the term heir apparent, that's where that term came from, because technically no heirs are known until someone dies. So someone can say, well, they're an heir to this, they're an heir to that. No one's an heir until someone dies, because at that point of death, because someone may die before that person or whatever. So that's why there's the term heir apparent. So the court issues this heirship determination that says these are all the people who are heirs to the person who died. If you're in that list, you have good standing to go to court and say, hey, I'm an heir. And this person is mismanaging things or is not handling things right. And yeah, I want to call them in to account for what's going on. I want an accounting. I want a meeting. I want this, that, and the other. Now, probably what I would say do is to actually call the lawyer and say, hey, I'm an heir and I would like an accounting. I would like a sit down. I want to know what's going on. If the lawyer refuses to do that, then yeah, then they shouldn't want to go into court and be in front of the judge with an heir saying, hey, they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. No lawyer wants to answer for that. But yes, there are things you can file and things you can do depending on what jurisdiction you're in. In different places, they call it different things. The process is a little bit different, but you can, bring that to the court's attention and get some help from the court. Okay. So here's the clarification I asked for. How would you know if you have a case for personal injury? Do you do consultations for it with respects to car accidents? Okay, yes, I do consultations for those. So I want to say that you could that's a good question, actually. How do you know if you have an injury? Because really, sometimes you don't know you have an injury. I had a family member several years ago that was in a car accident, and she was like, oh, it wasn't bad, but she kind of hit from the side. And I had enough experience, and I'm like, she was like, no, I feel good. It's good. I was like, I don't know. You should go get checked. So yeah, it turned out she had whiplash really bad, and she had some internal injuries. So sometimes you can actually be injured and not know it. Whiplash does not always show up. And a lot of times with soft tissue injuries, it could take 6 weeks for those to show up. If you're in an accident, I always tell people to go to the hospital and get checked out, because what's going to happen if you don't go? So say you have what some people will call a low impact crash. No airbags deployed. It could even be a bump or a tap. But say something happens and you are injured, but it's not apparent yet. And you go the 5 or 6 weeks on average that they say, really 6 weeks, that it takes for a soft tissue injury to show up. In that time period, a really good lawyer on the defense side could come along and say, hey, you got a baby that you carry around every day. You work, you have stairs in your house. You could have been injured anywhere. And who's to say that my client injured you in the car wreck? So in the first early stages, you may not be able to tell, but I always say go get checked out. A lot of times if you go in and say I had a car accident, depending on where the car was hit and different things like that, they'll do a scan, they'll do an MRI, especially if you have pre-existing conditions. A lot of people on here know I had cancer before several years ago, and I had a very, very extensive surgery to get the tumor out, but in so doing, I lost a lot of other organs. The point to that is I'm all stitched up on the inside, right? So for a lot of years, and I actually did have a car accident maybe 2 or 3 years after the surgery, but the stitches were so fragile, like anytime my body got jarred, I had to have a whole body scan to make sure that I didn't have any really bad internal injuries. That's a pre-existing condition that could have been exacerbated by an accident. Pre-existing conditions count. They just are calculated differently when you get your damages. So, of course, so that's what I'm saying. So the answer to the question is always go and get checked out, because you may find something that you're not feeling, you don't know about, it hasn't materialized yet. Of course, the other way to know is if you are feeling if you're not sleeping well, if you're feeling some kind of pain, no matter how slight, even if it's tingling, if it's some numbness, it's something that you feel like could be related to that, go get it checked out. Because if it turns out to be related to the accident, but you wait too long, a good attorney could say, this didn't happen from the accident, this happened from something else. And that could severely impact your recovery. Best practice for potential personal injury. Okay, so let's see. I saw another one. Oh, here's one. Can a family member sell their home to another family member at below market value? Okay, so the general rule is you can do whatever you want to do with your house. The only limitations is if there's a mortgage or anything on it, which from the way the question is, it doesn't sound like there is. If there's a mortgage on it, that's a separate thing. You'd have to ask the bank for a short sale and that kind of thing. Um, you would want to see about well, for you, okay, so the other thing is, and I thought it was 3 years. I'm gonna have to look this up for my viewers out here. It might be 2 years. If you sell your primary residence and you've had it for 2 years, there's something called, well, whenever you sell an asset and you make a gain, that's capital gains. Okay, everybody out there, you sell an asset, stocks, bonds, property, you sell something like that and you make a gain, that's called a capital gain. And then, of course, there's a tax on it. But if you sell your primary residence that you've had for 2 years, you don't get taxed on the capital gain. So that's what I did. When I moved from Nashville in 2021 and I moved here to Dallas, I made $130,000 selling my house. And I sold it and I hightailed it out of Nashville and came to Dallas because I was done with Nashville. So, but I didn't have to pay tax on it. I didn't get a 1099. That was free money. So market value only, this is another thing. This is a legal principle that you learn in law school, and it could also apply in the real estate world too. A property / a house is only worth what a willing buyer will pay for it. Market value is an indication of value, but real value is determined by what somebody will pay for it. So, and that's why sometimes you'll have houses in some places that sell below what other houses are selling for. And a person is like, well, why can't I get this much for my house? It's something about the house, depending on what it is with the house, but a property is truly only worth what a willing buyer will pay for it. So market value is just an indication of what people are paying in an area. And we've all had that experience when we go into an area, you'd be like, these houses cost what? Why are people paying this much? Sometimes people buy into the hype and they inflate a whole area for no apparent reason than, it's like the run on toilet paper, right? So, so yes, you can sell your house to anyone, really, family or anyone, below market value. I'm trying to think, I keep pausing because I'm trying to think if there's any tax implications to that, beyond the fact that if you've owned it for 2 years, you'll get a break on the capital gains. And I'm trying to think if the amount that was quote unquote below market value is taxable to the person who buys the house. But the only reason I don't think it is because of what I just said, that you can do whatever you want to do with your property and it's only worth what someone's willing to pay. So if you want to follow up with me on that and we can look a little bit more into it, I'm happy to do that. But that's my answer. Absolutely, yes, you can do it. And there shouldn't be any extra tax implications beyond that. But this is also the part too where I say, check with your accountant. I don't think so, but I know just enough to be dangerous sometimes. Okay, let's see. How often should we will or trust? Yes, great question. How often should a will or trust be reviewed and or updated? We generally do 3 years. 3 years is a good span of time where some changes could have happened. And sometimes that's just a quick check-in. Hey, sometimes in 3 years, everything has remained the same. But, the difference between a 15-year-old and an 18-year-old, that could, warrant a change. Because generally, as your children get grown and they start moving along different phases of their life, you will shift your things around that you want to do. You'll change things. Like I said, hey, this is who I'm leaving my kids to. But once they get 18, you don't have that concern. So you would change it around. So it's generally 3 years, and sometimes 3 years goes along and there are no changes and I check in with you and everything is fine. But then sometimes you're like, whoa, yeah, a lot's happened. I, got divorced, the dog died, the kids left. I mean, it's just like all hell is broken loose. And I'm like, why am I just now hearing about this? So yes, 3 years. Let's see. Hello, Brianna. I love you too, honey. Let's see. Everyone is saying thank you. Thank you guys for tuning in. A lot of you know me and know me well. I'm always trying to be helpful and help people because we need this out here, and everybody can't, afford the very expensive costs that attorneys are. But the other thing is, if I can catch you before you mess it up, that's a lot better for me. Let's see. Hey, Jazzy Jazz, love you too. Let's see. Let me see. Wonderful body. Look forward to future sessions. I saw another question. Make sure the like button. Oh, is it worth filing bankruptcy? Okay, here it is. Is it worth it to file bankruptcy for $10,000 in credit card debt? Absolutely not. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Okay. So what you can do about the $10,000 in credit card debt is negotiate that down. People tell me I'm a great negotiator. I guess. I mean, a lot of y'all know I'm no nonsense. I'm just going to get on the phone and be like, look, this is all we got. And this is what I can pay you. Now, look, they're going to close that credit card and it might affect your score, but a bankruptcy will affect your score more. Not for 10,000. If that's all you got, no, let's talk about that and let's figure out a way to negotiate that down. And like I said, they may close the card or something like that, but that's a much better solution than a bankruptcy, which real quick, Chapter 7, Chapter 13. A Chapter 7 is a full liquidation. You give everything back that you have. You don't owe anything. It kind of wipes everything clean. A Chapter 13, you are entering a repayment program to pay everybody. Now, look, there's something that you can do, and some people don't know about. You should talk to a bankruptcy attorney about. It's called reaffirm. You can reaffirm on a debt. So you file bankruptcy. You say, I'm filing bankruptcy, but I still want to pay for my house. I don't want to file bankruptcy on my house. I'm filing for bankruptcy, but I want to keep my car. I'm reaffirming on that debt. Now, why would you do that? You would do that for strategic reasons. Like, sometimes people are involved in a lawsuit and they're a defendant and they want to get that lawsuit off of them and they file a bankruptcy. They really only filing it to get the lawsuit off of them. They don't want to mess up the reporting to the credit bureau on their house or whatever. Will the credit bureau show that you filed a bankruptcy? Yes, but it's also going to show you reaffirmed on your house and your car, which is like the major debt. And that's looked upon differently sometimes with various creditors. But so truly at the point you have a house and a car already, and you, for whatever other reason, you have to file a bankruptcy, then you may just, that's a whole part of the plan, the strategy you have when you talk to the bankruptcy attorney of, you probably just got to sit still until the reason you filed the bankruptcy is resolved. So let me see, what's alternative? What's an alternative when newspapers don't exist in terms of, I think she must be referring to when you have to publish when someone dies. There is a circulating newspaper somewhere. If there isn't, then that's something I want to talk to you about, because then that is, we have to see what the court in that jurisdiction has said. Usually there's an assigned probate court. And if there are no newspapers in the area, because I do know newspapers are closing and shutting down. If there's no newspapers in the area, then they have established a process in that jurisdiction to say, hey, then you have to post notice at the courthouse. Like when they do foreclosures and they sell them on the courthouse steps and stuff, they may say you have to post notice at the courthouse. I don't really think there's going to be anything that's acceptable in terms of being online that I would know about right now. So that's how you would handle that. You have to see in that jurisdiction, the probate court that you would intend to file the case in, what are they saying? We find that out by calling like the court administrator or the court clerk in that area and say, hey, there are no circulating newspapers in this area, in this region. How are we giving notice? And they'll tell us what to do. So sometimes that might be, then you file it in a national paper like the Wall Street Journal, USA Today, something like that. But we would seek guidance from the court. If you have a trust, who should hold the official document? So great question. If you have a trust, who should hold the official document and who should hold copies? So what we have here is, and when I do a trust for my clients, I buy them a fireproof file box, and I deliver their documents to them in that. Now, some other attorneys, if you have them, they do your trust will, they give you this really beautiful binder, and it's really nice and everything. But if your house catches fire, it's gonna burn up. So I give you a fireproof box, and I deliver it to you in that. And it's okay for you to keep the original. If you keep the original at your house, put it in a fireproof box or put it in a safety deposit at the bank, and then a box, at the bank, and then gives, someone will know what the key is. Or the attorney can keep your original. I definitely would say the attorney definitely needs a copy. And someone needs the attorney's card. Someone needs to know to call me, right? Um, and let me know what's happened. Um, and actually, yes, so I've been on this journey to this estate planning, getting people's documents together and stuff for maybe 2 years now. And I had my first client to die, and I was so sad. I was so sad. I was so sad. It's just really hard. So, but the family contacted me, and yes, we went into a state administration. Yes, this is what you do next. This is what you do next. This is what you do next. So someone needs my card. It should be with the box, and someone needs to know to call me. But you can keep the original. Keep it in a safe place where it can't be destroyed. The fireproof box is also a waterproof box. So just in case something happens, like maybe you're not home, we travel, something could happen when we're not home. Although we turn the gas off, we turn everything off when we leave because we want our house to be here when we get back. But something could happen when you travel, or something could happen, you're away from the house catches fire, the house floods. Anything that's important, you want to keep it in there. Like, the box is big enough. Of course we have our like passports and birth certificates and, things in this box that you're going to need, in an emergency or something that you wouldn't want destroyed in a fire. So keep it there. Definitely give your lawyer a copy. I have given a copy to the people that I named in the document to do something. Now, those people, you don't necessarily have to give them the whole document because my trust is like 60 pages. So I gave, like, the Delta, I gave her, well, she has the whole thing because she's a lawyer too and I trust her. But like, just say if you wanted to give somebody just the pages that reference them, you could do that so they know what they're supposed to be doing. But definitely let the people know in the document. Don't name people to do stuff and they have no idea they've been named to do something. Give them a copy so that they know what to do. Those are the people that should have copies. People named in it who have to do something. The attorney that drafted it, and you can keep the original or give the original to the attorney. So let's see. Let me see. Yay. Oh, here, let's see. When you say life insurance, can you specify the best type of life insurance policy? That's another thing. Life insurance, there's not necessarily a best type of policy. That's very fact driven, very fact driven. How old are you? Who are you trying to protect with the life insurance? Is it children? Are you going to need it for 18 more years? Are you just trying to have enough money to bury yourself and take care of your bills if that's what you want to do? What is your health condition? What zip code do you live in? Because a lot of times the prices are dependent on that. And so what are your goals basically? So those are the questions there's so many different types of life insurance policies. It don't make sense. There's some that are, driven off the stock market. Of course, there's whole life that builds value. There's term life that's much more affordable, especially for young people, who maybe don't have any children yet or anything, but they want to, have something just to take care of their expenses so that a funeral and things is not a burden to their family. So there's a lot of times when people ask what's the best something, a lot of times it's very fact driven, and life insurance is one of those. There's so many different types of policies, it'll make your head spin. That's the other reason why, yes, you get with a professional, you tell them what you need. Don't overinsure yourself. Don't overinsure yourself, and then pick the policy that's going to best meet your needs. Now, look, just like changing the I'm sorry, just like updating the will and stuff, you might need to revisit that decision every several years as your life changes, your responsibilities change, the things that you're doing. Like, um, you may get into your mid 40s or 50s and decide, I'm going to start mountain climbing. And that's great. But your current insurance policy may say, we're not insuring you for dangerous activities. You may have to get a rider. You may have to update that policy. If you start racing cars, if you start just, doing kind of stuff, it's not that you can't be insured. It's just a lot of times people change what they're doing. They engage in different activities as a hobby. They take it up or whatever, and they don't realize that what they're doing is not insured. And if you die while you do that activity and you think you have insurance, you really don't. And then your family ends up not getting the protection you wanted them to have. So that's how that works. Let me see. Let's see here. Thank you so much, everyone. Let me see. Yes. Can I use an attorney to purchase property and land? Yes, I have. Client or two that I do this for them. So the funny thing is, remember I said I have the Mississippi broker license, but I have it on inactive status right now. But as an attorney, I can still do the transaction for you. The only difference is if I don't have a real estate license of any type, I can't be paid out of the commission. You'd have to be able to pay me yourself for the transaction. So whatever that transaction is, we would come to an agreement on what I would charge you to do it. And then I would complete the transaction as an attorney. But yes, you can use an attorney to purchase property, which might be more efficient. Because I'll tell you, here in Texas, like I said, I just got my license here and they are huge. They emphasize it more than any other state I've lived in, that real estate agents, they can't give legal advice. They're not attorneys. They can't, almost any question you ask them, they're going to say, ask an attorney. So the benefit, if you have a real estate agent that's already an attorney, you don't have to go get one. So a lot of times that is a good idea. It can save you time and expense of having two different professionals. So I have both licenses to be like a one-stop shop for my clients. Yes, this insurance that you can borrow against, that's an asset, that's whole life. Yes. Yes, son. I'll get you that. Let's see. What does this one say? Okay. Yes. Let's see. Term life ends eventually at a certain age with certain companies. Yes. Basically that's just how term life works. You get it at a certain age. It's going to be much cheaper. So if you get a 25-year term life policy when you are 25 years old, that'll take you to 50. You're probably going to pay $2 a month. That's a little low, but it's going to be really cheap. Right now I'm 52. If I get a term life policy now, 20 years at 52, and I'll be 72, honey, I might as well put that money in the bank in the stock market with a indexed fund that works off the S&P and save it over there. Cause it's going to be, if I get a term life right now, I'm 52, 20 years, take me to 72, like $25,000, that's probably going to cost me $100 a month or something, crazy like that. So it's always better to get insurance when you're younger. Definitely better to get whole life when you're younger. It'll be cheaper. And yes, it does have the effect of being something you can borrow against. You guys can look it up. There's a theory out there. You can basically become your own banker. That's a book, Become Your Own Banker. And you can borrow off your life insurance and just make that money circular. You do things with it, like buy a car, pay your debt down, do different things like that. But a lot of people use whole life policies for that. I'm gonna tell you something else that is generational wealth building that we don't do in a lot of communities, our communities. What do I want to say? Cultures do is one whole generation will insure themselves for the generation below. And there may be one trust. Let's just say the Kennedys, right? That's one. How does this money keep going? Even now that a lot of people, especially younger than me, don't even know who the Kennedys are. Because a lot of times their wealth was built into a lot of that. They don't even know who the Kennedys are. But what did they do? They had, so an initial trust got set up, right? But how does it continue to be funded? Life insurance. Life insurance. It goes into the trust and it's taking care of the generation below. And it's doing things like it's sending them all to college, it's paying the down payment on their homes, if not buying the house entirely. It is, helping them maintain a standard of living. It's doing all of that. So a whole life policy, the younger you are, it's definitely something to look into as one way to build wealth and to help you have your own kind of in your household banking system, circular banking system. So let's see. Because I know it's 7:06, and if we were gonna run a little bit longer if we needed to. I wanted to make sure I answered all the questions today. But let me see. Honey, my producer, he gonna get me because I ain't looking none of these messages he sent to me. Hold on one second. Something wrong with my Calendly. That's okay. I gave y'all that number. Ooh, let me give y'all the email address. Nichon, Nichon, Nichon at Mitchell-legal.com. Nichon, Nichon, Nichon at Mitchell-legal.com. Y'all send me an email. If something's wrong, I checked it today. I thought it was working, my Calendly thing, but I can definitely help y'all set up a consult or an appointment if y'all want that. Not a problem at all. It's the first one, and something was gonna happen, but we'll work the kinks out as we go. I wanted to make sure y'all had a way to get in touch with me, so that's why I gave you my business number, gave you the email address. I don't know. Oh, and then, okay, y'all. So I was gonna say y'all could hit me on Facebook and stuff. You can, but that's not the best way. The best thing to do is to text me. I'm gonna be very transparent and say if you call me and I don't answer, don't leave a voicemail because I'm not gonna listen to it. I'm swamped. I'm just being honest. If you call me and I don't answer, immediately send a text, and that's going to be the fastest way that I'll get back to you. If you leave me a voicemail, I'm never going to know it. It fills up too fast, and it's like one more step. It's just easier for me to just read it if you send me a message and then hit reply and reply back. If I got to listen to your voicemail and then I got to call you, the easier you can make it for me to get in touch with you, I'm going to get in touch with you. It's a lot of people on here that know that, and so yeah, they know that about me. Let's see. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, wait, producer, do we have more time? Let me see if there's more questions. Oh, wonderful. Yes, thank you, everyone. I hope this has been helpful and really good for you guys. And yes, don't forget, and comment. Tell me, also, you guys, tell me what topics you want me to talk about. Tell me what you need in terms of, like I said, I'm going to do this workshop. I've been thinking about it because when I help people do their estate plan, the biggest barrier is they won't finish that long sheet that I need in order to do the estate plan. So I'm like, we're just all going to do it together and we're going to get it done because unfortunately, we know not the hour. And, lots of things happen. And I've just been in the position where I'm usually generally helping people when the worst thing has happened to them, whether that's legal or whether that's in terms of life insurance, or like I said, or doing the estate plan or something like that. So what I want to do is try to lessen that and try to have people be more prepared so that families are better taken care of. And so, things go as smooth as they can be in the worst situation in life. And I'll tell you guys, the other thing that got me really cranked up on this and my passion for this is my dad died Christmas Eve, 2022. And before he died, and I want to say it was the same year, earlier that year, could have been the year before that, I kept saying, Daddy, you need to trust. Daddy, you need to trust. I'm going to do it. I'm going to get to it. I'm going to get to it. The short story is he went to, so 2022 is kind of quote unquote the back end of COVID, right? He went to a party in Vegas, of all places, Germ City, right? And it was at the time when COVID, the flu, and RSV were running together. I was like, Daddy, please don't go. Well, he was going to do what he was going to do, right? So he went. And So a woman went to this party, and the way she tells it, she was on the back end of pneumonia, walking pneumonia. She's on the back end of pneumonia. Well, my dad had diabetes his entire life. He was type 1 diabetic, and which of course made him compromised. So two people at the party got sick. My dad was one of them, and he died because he ended up getting pneumonia, and it just took over his system. And so um, at the point he dies, and we're standing in the house, and you can look around and tell somebody wasn't planning to die, right? I mean, and so he had nothing. So I said he died December 2022. Watch this, y'all. We are still in probate in California. Okay. And I'm a whole lawyer over here, and we're still in probate in California. That's how hard and difficult and long probate can be. And that's why you need a trust. Because with a trust, you don't even go to probate. You do go to probate with a will. Why would somebody have a will? For the reason a person asked the question earlier, they're much more cost effective. They're much easier to do. So, but it's better than nothing. It's better than nothing. Even if he would have had a will, that would have helped, because I had to do everything. So we had to go to court and do all the stuff, and we had to do it all the way in California. I'm in Texas. My little sister is in Nashville. My older brother is in Illinois, and my little brother is in Iowa. We are all over the place, and we have to litigate out in California because he had nothing. And after I said, Daddy, you need to get this. Let's do this. And the kids don't listen. The parents don't listen. People that know me say, I always say, don't nobody listen to me. Okay, so let's see. I don't think I see any more questions. Okay, well, if that's good for everybody, y'all hit me up on the various ways y'all can hit me up, and we'll just go ahead and end since it's 7:13. Producer, you want to come back on? You got anything to say? I don't know. It's the first show, y'all. We figured it out.
No, everything was fine. You did that thing.
Alrighty, cool. Well, I will see you guys next week where we're talking about wills, trust, and estate on March the 5th, 6 p.m. Central, 7 Eastern. Thank you guys. I had so much fun. I enjoyed this. I hope it was helpful.
All right, everybody. Have a good night. Be safe. God bless.